Wall Street, a world where fortunes rise and collapse, all in the blink of an eye. A place where a single move can unlock unlimited wealth or chain you in generational debt. In this video, we're diving into the story of a man who brought Wall Street to its knees, racking up billions in debt. A visionary trader with an ego so large, it nearly toppled an entire bank. This is the story of Howie Hubler, the man behind one of the greatest trading disasters in Wall Street history. It was the mid-2000s, Wall Street's golden era. Stocks were soaring, businesses booming, and traders were printing money with no signs of stopping. All while financial engineers worked behind the scenes, crafting tools so complex that even the smartest traders struggled to understand them. Yet nothing compared to the American real estate market, a rocket running on unlimited fuel. Its collapse was unthinkable. Billions were printed every year. And that's exactly what Howie Hubler wanted to exploit. Morgan Stanley was one of Wall Street's crown jewels, packed with talented bond traders, yet none were as sharp or as daring as Howie Hubler. He ran Morgan Stanley's elite global proprietary credit group and was one of the bank's highest-paid traders. His job? Use Morgan's money to bet on the market. He was fast, aggressive, and bold, making hundreds of thousands every year. Yet somehow, it was never enough. In 2006, Hubler had found a loophole that could make him billions. Banks were handing out risky loans to almost everyone. Low credit, zero money down, no proof of income, nothing. These loans are called subprime mortgages, and they're built to fail. Hubler knew that failure wasn't a matter of it, but rather when. Using a credit default swap, he started betting against the weakest mortgages and waited for the profit to start pouring in. A credit default swap was basically insurance for a loan. And since subprime mortgages were destined to fail, Hubler was betting on losses that were guaranteed to make him millions. Think of it like buying fire insurance on a house you know is going to burn down. It was brilliant, it was genius, and it was guaranteed to make Hubler a fortune. But for Howie, it still wasn't enough. Hiding behind mountains of cash was one fatal flaw, a flaw Hubler was determined to fix. Howie was still spending $25 million every month on the CDS bets just to keep them running. Payments would often hit $2 million a day, adding up to a whopping $62 million a month. He was paying insurance on a house he knew would burn down, and yet every day it stood, Hubler was losing money, bleeding the bank dry. Weeks went by as Howie hunted for a solution. And it didn't take long for him to find one. A strategy so brilliant, it let Hubler place bets worth millions without spending a single dime. Hubler knew exactly which loans would fail. He also knew which ones would succeed. These were his safe bets, steel houses that could never burn down. With that guarantee in mind, he used Morgan Stanley's reputation to sell his own insurance. But not just any insurance. Premium, state-of-the-art, as high as it goes. By selling fire insurance on steel houses with zero chances of burning down, Hubler was effectively funding his colossal market bets with money from his AAA policies, dropping his overall cost to nothing. Question: do you prefer your sandwich with or without tomatoes? Millions of people say sandwiches taste better without vegetables, while others swear it makes the meat taste better. If you like tomatoes on your sandwich, click the red juicy subscribe button. If not, hit the like button instead. Back to the video. Using this genius strategy, Hubler raised over $16 billion in insurance alone, making Morgan Stanley more money than anyone could imagine, crowning Howie as the bank's #1 trader. The best part? Success was guaranteed, failure was impossible, and Hubler could keep buying credit default swaps on subprime mortgages, funded entirely by money from selling collateralized debt obligations to AAA assets, knowing that there was no possible chance of failure. Hundreds of financial models confirmed it. Or so it would seem. As it turns out, these safe bets, the same steel houses Hubler was betting on, were actually built on the same wooden foundations as the cheap ones. Without realizing it, Howie was betting billions on the very same houses he knew were destined to burn down. What looked like a genius strategy was now a ticking time bomb. It was 2007, and just as Hubler predicted, the chaos began. Subprime defaults began to spike. People were missing payments left and right. Thousands across the market. Billions in dollars. Everything seemed to be going according to plan. Houses were going into foreclosure, one after the other, and Howie started making money on every CDS he bet on. Numbers climbed higher and higher. The long-awaited victory was finally his to claim. Just as Howie was sinking it in, the unexpected happened. The steel houses started catching fire. As it turned out, the AAA-rated CDOS weren't as safe as everyone believed, and Hubler, selling $16 billion worth of insurance, wasn't helping either. But the deal was already made, and now it was time to pay. The entire market started to panic. Chaos erupted, yet Howie refused to face the facts. He was so deep in his scheme that admitting defeat wasn't an option. Hundreds of clients came to collect, and Howie turned them all down, insisting the value of AAA assets was just an exaggeration. He was too smart to be wrong. So he decided to double down, holding a firm grip onto assets that were now worth pennies. Meanwhile, Morgan Stanley was spiraling into chaos. The bank faced existential threats, and their number one trader was in denial. CEO John Mack later admitted he didn't really understand what Hubler's team was doing. It was like a captain steering a shipwreck, and when it inevitably crashed, the team pretended like nothing had happened. By late 2007, the bleeding had stopped, and the bill was finally revealed. The numbers shocked Morgan Stanley to its core. John Mack couldn't believe his eyes. Howie Hubler, the bank's top trader, Morgan's most valuable asset, had produced a net loss of over $9 billion. This was one of the largest trading losses in Wall Street history. Keep in mind, Morgan was already struggling from the market collapsing. The last thing the bank needed was a $9 billion net loss. Hubler had brought the entire bank to its knees, instantly wiping out years of profits. After all the chaos he caused, Howie Hubler managed to walk away from the incident. The worst part? He didn't leave empty-handed. In October of 2007, Howie Hubler resigned, and according to multiple reports, he managed to walk out with over $10 million in his pockets, all while the bank was fighting for its life. The dent was so deep, Morgan Stanley never fully recovered, not even to this day. Meanwhile, a delusional trader basked in his own glory, refusing to admit he caused one of the largest net losses in Wall Street history. He nearly wiped an entire bank off the market, all because his ego was too big to accept blame, and his denial wouldn't let him take accountability. The story of Howie Hubler represents the perfect Wall Street tragedy, a brutal lesson in humility, reminding us that you're never as smart as you think, especially in a market full of complex tools that can be turned into weapons, capable of wiping out entire banks. Even after a near-death experience, Morgan Stanley kept stumbling, some mistakes being as recent as 2024, proving once again just how greedy and reckless Wall Street can be. Can you believe that the UK's biggest bank was secretly working with the cartel? Or that a cop secretly stole millions of dollars from a criminal? If you're interested in hearing the full stories, check out our other finance videos. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more bite-sized documentaries.